All right, here we are. We are live now. Well, live for me and you, recorded for everybody else who will be watching this. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm very excited. We are talking with another great thrash musician here today. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and just introduce yourself here to start out, please.
Sure. My name is Frankie. I play rhythm guitars, and I'm the singer for the thrash Costa Rican thrash metal band Chemicide. Very excited to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming. So I guess since the rest of the band is out doing other stuff at the moment, can you kind of run through the other guys in the band for us?
Yeah, the thing is that they're all working right now, and one of them is in school. So, well, we have Sebastian, he's a lead guitarist, and then we have George, he's the bass guitarist, and then we have Luis, who's a drummer. He started back in 2021 with us.
Nice. All right. Well, so for anybody out there who does not know, pretty new album out there from you guys, Common Sense. And if you are familiar with the channel, I did review that album not that long ago when it came out, so go check that out. But before we get into the album, let's talk about the band a little bit. I guess kind of musically, how things came together for you guys.
Well, we first started the band, I think it was back in 2007, 2008, when we were getting out of high school, to be honest. And the thing is that we were heavily influenced by the punk and hardcore area, I guess, scene here in Costa Rica. And we started listening to thrash metal as well. And well, you know, Pantera, Sepultura, Slayer, all that kind of music, Demolition Hammer. And it kind of caught our attention. So we decided to start a band that we could actually play music. The thing is that, you know, when you first start playing guitar and drums and whatnot, we weren't really skilled to play that kind of music, you know. So we started playing Ramones, we started playing Misfits and Black Flag, that type of music, because it was much easier for us, to be honest. And we started the band, but you know, having a band is like, you know, having another family pretty much. You know, you have ups and downs, and we had a lot of lineup changes and things, and we were very young, so we didn't really know what we were doing pretty much. So we've been with, like, I don't know, 6 drummers already, and in, I think it was 2013 was like, nah, we just need to start this, you know, taking it more seriously. And we recorded our first album, but we had a lot of things going on, so we recorded the album, but we were able to finish the whole recording in 2014, and we put the album out on Bandcamp in 2015, and pretty much just snowballed from there. And we've released 4 records now since.
Nice. So in terms of influences, you told me some of the stuff that you guys were kind of influenced by. Is there anything kind of really strange or out there that that one of you was like, yeah, well, I'm like influenced by this, and you guys are like, what?
Nah, well, I mean, as far as like influences go, for the band itself, we listen pretty much to I guess the same thing. So our drummer, which is the newest guy, he listens to like Deftones, and he's more into the hard, like, I guess you call it metalcore scene. So I don't know a lot of bands in the metalcore scene, to be honest. I'm sorry, but he's like, you know, he likes a lot of Deftones. He likes A Day to Remember, I think it is, another one that he likes a lot. But, you know, the guitarist and the bass player and I, we listen to the same things pretty much. We listen to a lot of punk, and we listen to also, like, you know, of course, heavy hitters. I don't know, Creator, Sepultura is one of the biggest influences that we have. Demolition Hammer, Hypnosia from Sweden. But, you know, we all listen to different things. So, for example, I listen to a lot of Kendrick Lamar, for example. So I really like his lyrics, and our bass player likes Madonna. He likes one record specifically that he likes the sound a lot. So, you know, and our guitarist, he listens to like a lot of Flaming Lips and like indie bands. So yeah, that type of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's cool, and I think that helps so much. Some people might think the opposite, where like if everybody's listening to Slayer, then the thrash band is going to be solid.
Nah.
But no, I think musical influences are great.
Yeah, man, I think that if you listen to different things, the band will sound more diverse, I guess. Because the thing is that if you guys are listening to the same things over and over again, you will come up with the same things over and over again, right? So there will be no really versatility to when it comes to songwriting. But Yeah, I mean, as far as influences go for the band itself, it's like, of course, metal and punk, but you know, we all listen to different things that keeps our, I guess, our ears fresh, to put it that
Yeah.
way.
So what would you say, is there like one album right now that you're really into, that you guys are, or that you're really listening to?
I was listening a lot to the latest Municipal Waste album. The one just came out.
Yeah.
I really like the sound of that record, to be honest, because it's very different to the other albums they have put out in the past few years. I think this is one of is a little bit more prolific when it comes to the sound. I think that you can really tell when Arthur Risk, the producer, puts his hand into it. It sounds very different. It sounds very aggressive, but also very clean. So I like that tone. Um, I don't know. Let me see. I was listening to a lot of well, we've been on tour recently with a lot of bands. So there was one band specifically that I really liked. Is from Colombia. Is their name? The band is called Neutral, which is neutral in English. I really like that band. They have a really hardcore crossover kind of sound, so I like it. Cruel Bomb is another band that I like. It's from some friends of mine. They're from I think they're from PA, and also Paralysis. They put out a record. I think it was 2 years ago. Mob Justice, and I really like that record. So those are records that I've been listening to a lot. And I mean, there's others that I listen to regularly, like Power Trip and stuff like that, right? But Metallica and Slayer. But those are, you know, the records that I've been listening to lately that I think, as far as metal goes, right? You know, that have really caught my attention.
Nice. Yeah. One of mine, I really like, I guess, kind of traditionally here, the new Exodus album. I found that really,
It's really different to what they put out before, man. I mean, I think it's more
yeah,
aggressive.
it's very aggressive, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the first song I think is Persona non grata is the first song, right? I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
The first riff, man. That
Yep.
first riff is just like the down picking of it, and there's like the way that it sounds is so clean, man. I like, you know, to put it, I mean, Exodus I liked a lot, right? But like the latest one for Creator, for example, I didn't like at all. Like, you know, the past albums that Creator's put out, I don't really like them, to be honest. And it's weird because I like Creator a lot, but it's just like they changed their sound so much that it's weird now. I don't really enjoy those records anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. I kind of, I'm with you on that one. I was excited to review it when it came out. And then I listened to it, and it didn't blow me away like I thought it would, or like I was hoping it would.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because it's such a great band, and like the sound of it, like the sound itself, it sounds good. I mean, it sounds massive. You know, the way it sounds great, but the songwriting itself it's not there to me. It's just like I'm listening to the same. I think it was Hordes of Chaos and Phantom Antichrist kind of thing over and over again. The same type of choruses, like, you know, very open and the same kind of thing. So it got a little boring to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I had to think of it as like, I went in hoping to hear a thrash record, but that's not really what I got or what I was hearing there. And so I kind of had to change my mind to like, all right, well, I'm just listening to a metal album now. I don't, you know, some things grab you, some things don't. Not taking anything away from Creator, but
No, of course not. I mean, they're a legendary band, of course, but yeah.
All right. Well, you mentioned touring here. So again, before we even get into the album, let's talk a little bit about touring. Are you guys keeping busy?
Yeah, we've been touring since March, man. It's been nonstop pretty much. So it's been a little hectic because we all work, right? I mean, it's not like we just can go out and bail out. But we've been, you know, we've been to Nicaragua, to Colombia, to Mexico, and we've played, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 dates so far for the year. So it's been a very busy year for us. And we're going to the UK next year in April, and we're going to visit Colombia again, and I think it's March, if I'm not mistaken. And most likely we'll be heading down to Chile as well. So we're pretty much booking the next year as well, so we can get as many days as we can. Hopefully we'll get more dates in Europe. I think we're going to be there about 2 to 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. UK is a primary destiny, to put it that way, because we have some friends that are going to help us out with the PA and the backline and all that. But I think we might be able to visit Italy and France and Spain and Greece.
Wow,
I'm mistaken.
that's quite a list.
Yeah, yeah. My boss doesn't really like that, and especially my wife. I told her I'm probably going to be going for a month or so, or maybe more than that. And she's like, "All right."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's interesting because everybody knows that Europe has a really great metal scene. People love metal in Japan, but South America is not really someplace that I've ever really, aside from a couple here and there, but that's not one that seems to me that has been like a hotbed of metal and thrash and anything like that. Is that something that you're finding you're trying to break through?
Well, not really. I mean, there's a lot of bands that I like from South America. For example, Violator is one of them that I love. It's they're one of my main influences, to put it that way. And I'm friends with the guys. So there's a lot of bands from South America, well, Sepultura, of course, that I've known for a while. The thing is that when you're in this area, I mean, we're from Central America. We're in the region, so we listen to a lot of bands that come from the South, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm with you on there, because the thing is that the problem I see with our continent is that, I mean, for Latin America specifically on this side of the South side, is that it's really hard to travel from one country to the other. We have to take airplanes to just travel from one country to the other. I mean, we can drive, of course, we can drive down, but they're really long distances. It's not like you can just take a train and head out. And the thing is, every time you travel into a different country, it's, you got to go through customs, you got to go and pay taxes and all that. So it kind of doesn't help the proliferation of bands across the world, right? So this is the reason why, for bands from the US or bands from Europe, it's just much easier, because for bands in the US, you can literally do a tour through an entire country, and I mean, you can spend literally 2 months touring the entire country, and you don't have to go anywhere, I mean, besides on a different state, right? And same thing with Europe. With Europe, you have you could travel by train, and it makes it a little easier. And they don't have as many restrictions as far as like customs goes. So you can just travel back and forth from one country to the other and do the shows. So that, I think, has been, I guess, key as far as like building a strong metal scene for us in Latin America, because that's the thing. I mean, you have huge countries like Brazil. You have these guys touring their own country for like months on end. But whenever you want to go out and do a different tour in a different country, it's a little bit more expensive. For example, for us to travel down to Chile is like a $700 bill on a ticket. So it's the same thing for us to go to Chile or go to Europe. So that's when you just have to decide which market you want to target. If you want to go down to South America and just do maybe a few shows, or maybe just do a whole month in Europe, right? So those are the things that you got to think about when planning tours out.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that. I just talked to a band from South Africa the other day, actually, and they said the US is great because, you travel a short distance and you're at the next spot, and you can just keep filling up your schedule without really having to make those huge drives. And even I was talking to a Canadian, who was it? I was talking to Hazard the other day, I interviewed Hazard, and they were like, yeah, it's the same thing. You travel a short distance and you're there. So it makes touring just a little bit easier, definitely less expensive that way too.
It happened to us when we were in Canada. When we were in Canada, we started back in Toronto. We were all the way up to the Northeast, and I mean, they're long drives. Don't get me wrong. They're 6-hour drives, 7-hour drives, sometimes 5 hours. But it's not the same thing for like, if I wanted, when we went to Nicaragua is a country that is really next door to us, right? It's just up north, and it took us maybe around 12 to 15 hours to get there. And it's not because it's a really long distance. It's just because we had to go through customs. And when you go to customs, you have to stay there for a couple hours. And, maybe more than that. We stay there for 3 hours. So it took us a long time. And I mean, you have to go by bus. You have, it's much different. So
yeah,
it's not. And for us, that's the other problem. For us to travel into the US to play, it's just a hassle, because you need a special visa, you need a work visa type of special visa to get into the US. So that also prevents Latin American bands to actually travel into the US and play more shows, because you have to have actually a big following to get that type of visa.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't really understand that. And I'm so big on telling people to support local bands, support regional bands, smaller bands, because not everybody's Judas Priest and has like a
Exactly.
fleet of, airplanes and all kinds of other stuff that they can just like, I'm going here, then I'm going here. So yeah, I mean, local support is so huge.
And that's the thing. I mean, and it's not only because this is the thing, man. I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, I love all these bands, right? Of course, Judas, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, all these bands, I love them. But the fact is, all these bands are actually going out. I mean, they're in their way out. So once these bands go out, what are you gonna keep, supporting? Which bands are you gonna go see live when these guys go out? So that's the thing. Like, you got to think about the bands that are coming out. And it's not about us specifically, but I mean, there are other bands that, you might want to support and see them live, because those bands are going to become the next big thing. Right. And that's what the new generations are going to look up to. Right. So just like the same way that we did with all these bands.
Yep. They all started small too. And I think, once you get to a certain level, people kind of forget how small you started out.
You started out in front of 5-10 people, man, playing shows like you had to drive for 2 hours and then the only 3 people showed up.
Well, just one last question about touring, I guess. Did you find yourselves doing more festival type of things or more like solo type of gigs? What were you?
We were doing underground shows pretty much. Yeah. Because okay. I personally book most of our shows, and what I do is that it's all DIY, right? It's just a matter of getting bands locally and help, asking them for support, get the backline, get the PA, and we'll show up. Don't pay us anything, right? We don't really need money from the show itself. We'll get money up for the merch. That's fine. But, we'll make it out, right? We go down to your country, we go down to your region, we play up for our own tickets, and we'll figure something out as far as like, the way, where we're going to stay. But, festivals are now becoming such a fucking mess, to be honest. Like, for you to get into a festival now, you need to have a booking agent. You have to have this, and some festivals ask for you to pay for to pay and to play, and I'm gonna do that shit honestly. Like, some friends of mine just paid a big chunk of money to go on tour with a big band, hoping for their label to pay, to actually, pay for what they had paid, and they got lucky, and their label paid for that money. But sometimes you got to pay for your own spot at a festival, and it makes really no sense for an upcoming band to put money down to get into a festival where you can just be playing local shows, and once you're there and the promoters know about you, they might get you into the show, right? So I'd rather just play all around the festivals, and for the promoters to actually see us. And then when they see us, they might get us, into the shows. If they don't, it's fine. We'll still play the underground shows. There's no problem with me. Nice.
Yeah, I've got some friends in a band up here. They're up in New Hampshire, and they're big advocates of, it's kind of a criminal thing. People saying, all right, well, you can play, but you have to pay to play. I mean, you guys are out there trying to support yourselves, or at least to some degree support yourselves with your music, and I've heard of venues trying to take big percentages off of the merch that you're selling and stuff. And I just think that's, it's not what it used to be. Bands are out there working hard, and, you could make it. And now like everybody wants a piece of you
and that's it, man. Like not only merch, like, for you to get your music on Spotify, you have to pay. Yeah. For you to get your music on Apple Music, you have to pay.
That tiny little bump when somebody streams your song one time, right?
Exactly. I mean, you don't really make money off of that. And the thing is this, man, I mean, I measure bands like, we have a following on Spotify, and it's fine. I mean, I appreciate all of that. I appreciate, the following, and I appreciate people listening to my music and sharing it. But the measure of success that I see with bands is how many people show up to the shows. That's it. Because the thing is now is that there are a lot of bands that pay for bots to actually have more streams or more followers or whatever, right? Just to be up there with the big bands so they can get invited to the big shows. But whenever they come around and they do the shows on their own, nobody shows up. So that's how I measure success for those bands. Like, do a show and see how many people actually show up to support your band. And that's how I see, which bands are really doing their part. And
Yeah.
as far as like, having a band, the only way that I think that you can do yourself is playing live. Keep busy, keep playing, and keep training your music. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Even though you have to show up for 5 people, because this happened to us. We were on tour in Canada. We had one show we had to play for like 5-10 people. I don't give a fuck, man. We play for those 5 people. We rock the shit out of them, honestly, man. But it's the way it is. Like, something's you're gonna have 3,000 people, something's you're gonna have 5.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's finally get into the album now. And I can tell you that I think the first time I heard of you guys, it was, have you heard of the Metalhead box?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So I think it was Episodes of Insanity maybe that came to me in the Metalhead box.
the first album.
Yeah. So that's how I first even heard of you guys. So I've heard a lot of other thrash bands that I've talked to. They're like, yeah, Metalhead box. And I'm like, that's how I heard of you guys to begin with. So, I appreciate that for whatever kind of publicity they give you. But so you've got 4 albums out now.
Yes.
And the latest one, Common Sense. So for me, I don't know, this is such like a cheap way to describe it, but it's thrashy. Right from the very start of it, it's fast and it just comes right out. And I love that. I love something that doesn't take time to mess around. It's just like, I know what I want to hear, and bam, there it is. So I think this is a great album. You want to tell me a little bit about kind of how putting this album together went down?
Yeah, it was actually it was a pain in the ass, man. The thing is that we were on tour in Canada back in 2019, and we were heading out to tour Mexico, and I don't know which other country we were going out to tour. And then we came home for a short period of time, and we were playing some shows here. We're buying our tickets, and all of a sudden I couldn't buy any more tickets, right? Like it stopped me. I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, I'm refreshing the page and it just doesn't let me. And that's when it hit us. Like, the pandemic hit us and we couldn't get out of the country. Luckily for us, we were here, because if we would have been out, it would have been a shit show for all of us, man. Because we were coming back home to work, and luckily we were here, so we didn't have to be stranded somewhere else. But we started, we had to spend almost a year doing anything. And the thing is that year we were scheduled to play the Mexico Metal Fest, which is in Monterrey, and it's like for maybe 50,000 people. And we couldn't make it because the festival got canceled. Well, got postponed. And so we were invited to do like a virtual kind of show. So for an underground band like us, we took the shot and we did it. The whole thing was good. And so we kept on working, but we kind of grew apart of our drummer at a time. He wasn't really in line to what we wanted as far as like, touring, and like, we wanted what I personally wanted for the sound of the record. So we parted ways with him, and we started looking for new drummers. That's when Luis came along. We auditioned like maybe, I don't know, 20 drummers, and he was the one that connected most with us. And I think that we have a great chemistry with him, right? He comes from a background that of hardcore metal, and from the punk scene pretty much, right? So it's something that we shared a lot, and he had fresh ideas. So I had already started working on the record myself. I had a few songs written out, and we were supposed to put out the record in December 2021. So I had a song that I written like in March or something like that. And so what we did is that we put out that song. It's called Uncertain Future. We just released the single, and to test the waters, pretty much test the sound. See people liked it, and they did. It had a great response. We had a great cover. Our lead guitarist did the cover for the artwork for the song, and we put out also a cover song of Negative's Approach, Tie Down. And people loved it, man. They went crazy with it. So we were happy that had a great reception. So right there and then I started working on the new album, and I started writing more songs of that kind of I guess describe how I was feeling at the time. Being locked down all day, it kind of messes with your head, right? So feelings of depression, feelings of like what I was seeing online, racism, all this type of things that, I wanted to just put them down on the record. It's things that I was seeing in my country specifically, about corruption and whatnot. So I think that it breaks barriers, but at the same time, it's the same outcome in all of our countries, right? All of our countries, unfortunately, are hit with corruption, all the way, and there's more people getting, more poor people, more, I guess there's only high class now, or high class, or the very low classes now. So it's very frustrating now that there's no middle anymore. So I wanted to describe that in the record, and all my aggression, all my frustration came out in a positive way. So we recorded the record in about a month. We did the drums in 6.5 hour session in one day. Then I did all the rhythm guitars in an 8 to 9 hour session, and same in a day. And then solos and whatnot were done also in a 5 hour session. Bass guitars were did in 5 hours as well. And then I did all the vocals for the songs in one day as well. So we had the record in November, and one of the labels that we were working with suggested for us to start working with Martin Furia, who's a new lead guitarist for Destruction. And he reached out to us saying that he was a fan of the band, and that he wanted to help us out, mix and master the record. So for us, it was a no-brainer. I mean, this guy's tour manager of Destruction, and now he's a lead guitarist for Destruction, and he says that he's a fan of the band. Of course, we're gonna go with him. I mean, he already knows, what we want. So we already had the sound really defined in my head, the way that I wanted for it to sound. And it came across perfectly, to be honest. And it's had a great reception so far, man. It's actually our biggest release so far.
Good. Yeah, speaking of Destruction, that's another one of the newer albums that I really like this year.
Diabolical is a hell of a record, man.
Yeah, nice. That's really cool to get somebody that you admire to come in and say, man, I love your band. I want to do stuff for you.
It was very surreal, man, because the thing is that he's from Argentina, and he had worked with some friends of ours. The band is called Entratil. They're 4 Mexican girls, and they play death metal. We had met him in a tour that we did in Canada. We played the same show together with Cattle Decapitation and with Jungle Rot, and I can't remember the other bands. There was a ton of bands, and we met, and they were working with a Mexican label called Concreto Records, and so the owner, his name is Quechol, he was the one that gave him my number. So it was very weird, because I get this message on my phone saying like, my name is Martin, I'm from Destruction. I was like, get out of here, like, I'm not gonna believe that, and it was true. So it was very cool. So it's weird, man, because it's somebody that you admire, and now all of a sudden he wants to work with you. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah. So in terms of kind of writing the songs and getting stuff, do you guys usually go like riff first or lyrics first? How does stuff usually happen?
I usually do the lyrics first, because the thing is that I for example, now I already know the name of the new record that we're going to put out. I know exactly what it's going to talk about, and I know the subjects that I'm going to talk about, right? So I usually do drafts of lyrics. I write them down. They don't really have to rhyme or anything, but I just write down the ideas that I have. So once I have them down, I start working on music. So once I have the lyrics down, at least like a rough sketch of what I want to talk about, I start writing the music to it, and then I tweak them out a little, and I take these words and move them around and whatnot. But usually the lyrics come first.
Nice. All right. I guess before we get out of here today, this is always my favorite last question. Is there anything that I did not ask you that you're like, you want to give an answer to?
No, not really, man. I mean, like, the thing is that I think, this type of interviews I really like, because it's like talking to a friend, to be honest. So it's really easy. And, instead of like, when they're just asking you and throwing questions at you, right, at your face. Yeah. So this I think it's a lot better. I think that the only thing that I would say is that just pay attention to the lyrics of the record. Hopefully, you guys like it, of course. And if you want merch, just go on our Bandcamp, of course. We're the only Chemicide in the world, so it's not really difficult to find us. And yeah, man, if you want to see us live in your city, just let us know, man. We'll be there. We'll find a way, of course.
Nice. Well, if you ever make it up to the US, I will be there personally myself.
Dude, we're really trying, man. Like, we're really trying to make it to at least to the East Coast, because it's where I have family in the East Coast, or this is what we're trying to do. This is where we know our bands. So, yeah, man, expect it.
Hey, I'm up in Pennsylvania. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'll be happy to see you on the East Coast.
Yeah, dude. More, expect the unexpected, and hopefully 2023 you might be able to see us there at least for a weekend.
Sure.
And I'll talk to the boys from Cruel Bomb to see if we can put something together.
Yeah, nice, definitely. Well, again, everybody who's watching, definitely check out the album. It is so good. Check out my review if you need a little bit more inspiration to go check out the album. That's up too. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me here today. I definitely appreciate that, and best of luck to you guys, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. No, thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
All right,
man. Peace out.
see ya.